This was a difficult week, but I remained focused on my goals. Emotional overspending from grief can ensnare any of us, and I'm not immune, but I was still able to put a big chunk of money into savings, and I'm excited to show you how I did it. Are you ready? Let's go! Welcome back to Ready Budget Go. My name is Drew, and on this channel we talk about cash budgeting, saving money, and achieving our financial goals. If that sounds like something you're interested in, please consider subscribing, hit the like button, and leave me a comment down below. I'd love to hear from you. It's the end of the week, so that means it's time to do my weekly budget update. I'm going to start with the budget itself. Oops, here we are. And for this week, I did not receive any income. I will have paycheck 2 at the end of the month, so not even with next week's check-in, because next week I'll be closing out the 29th, so this will be probably not updated until the month-end close, as well as for the cell reimbursement. So no income this week, but I did have some bills come out. PUD, which is my electricity bill, came out, and that was $55, rounded. It's a little less than that, but I round up. And then I also purchased my bus pass for next month, and that was $72. So the rest of these will come out next week. Affirm was due on the 21st, but I just paid it yesterday because I was traveling on the 21st, so that will show up in next week's video. So stockpiles, we'll talk about that a little bit later. Savings and extra debt, I updated this with the $305 from last week's game night and savings challenge books. That went to the Roth IRA, and I'll update the savings tracker in a little bit. So and we'll come back to wallet spend, so we'll do the cash flow next. This is just a representation of everything that went through my checking account. So I only have 3 transactions this week. I had the contribution to the Roth IRA, and that was $305. I had another credit card payment. That was $706.64. And savings for the big move, $2,000. And I'll talk more about that in a little bit. But I was really happy that I was able to finally get that account started, and I even printed out the tracker. So before we get to that, let's talk about weekly expenses. And I did print out a second sheet because I knew I was going to need it. I was going to need it even without all of the events of this month, but it looks like I'll be needing it sooner than I thought. So I'm going to record all of these transactions, and there's quite a few, so I will probably just cut through it as I fill them out, and then we'll come back and talk about them here once I've got everything filled out. Okay, so that's all of the transactions, quite a few of them. I actually filled out quite a bit more on the second sheet than I thought I would. So let me pull out the other one so that I can look at these side by side. Okay, so one thing that I noticed looking at all of this, there's a lot of takeout, there's DoorDash, there's a couple trips to McDonald's for coffee. With everything going on with having to travel, the funeral, everything, not being at home, restaurants were kind of the order of the week. So that was a big part of the spending. And then also, I went to a clothing store and spent $140, and I also spent another 140 plus on Lyft. So what I decided to do was use more credit card rewards to wipe those out. I've still got quite a bit of rewards left. I had enough to take care of those. And so, in order to keep spending in check, I thought that was the best course of action. So, I'm going to add up now all of these transactions, but then I'm going to eliminate this one, and this one. So I'm just going to skip over those because those have already come off my credit card statement. So let me get out the calculator here, and we'll get to adding. Okay, so 660 twice, 23.97, 37, 42, 1538, 5, 24.26, 18.37, 25.30, 41, 54, and 45. So that gives me a grand total of $249.44. A pretty good spending week overall once I took out all of the transportation spending on Lyft and the clothes, because I wouldn't have spent that money had it not been for the funeral that I went to this week. So I'm going to pop this back in, and then I'm going to just give these a quick color code, and we'll use yellow this week. Make sure I don't clear that so I can record it on the other page. And then we'll go back to the budget and record all of that. Okay. And then all of these. So hopefully 2 pages is enough for this month. But the rest of the weeks, and I've got 2 more weeks in May because of how the calendar falls, I don't anticipate I will do a whole lot more spending. So back to the budget. Okay. Write in $249.44. And that should bring down my overspends to something more manageable to where I can catch up with the rest of the month. So if I add this to the 273.23 and the 434.99, I'm at 957.66, and I should be at 900. So I'm still over by just about $60, but I should be able to absorb that with the rest of the time I have left in May for the wallet spend. Okay, so I need to talk about savings, but before I do that, I'm going to do the cash dump because I forgot to do it at the start of this video again, and I want to make sure I do it this week because I didn't do it last week. And so I've got 2 weeks worth of cash to put toward the end of the month banks that I will then use to put toward bigger goals when that happens. So I'll break the video here, I'll get out the cash pouches, and we'll do that next. All right, I've got all the cash pouches out, and it's time to see who's who in the zoo. So we'll start with the bank that I use for my weekly cash. And I already recorded in the budget that I'd spent $45, but just to show you, I do have $55 left. So that was accurate. So we'll set this one aside. Then for the cash dump, I've got quite a bit in here. If you watched my budget update from a couple weeks ago, you'll remember that I kind of declared a cash bankruptcy because I was getting confused with what I'd taken out and what was for which week. So I pulled out all the cash that was left and decided that I would put all of it toward the Christmas fund. So I've got quite a few fives in here, in addition to a whole bunch of ones. And again, this is for 2 weeks. So Christmas will be getting a big bump this week. So I'm going to put that in here with all of the other ones from earlier in the month. So my Letterbucks video, which will usually publish the first weekend of the following month, should be quite a doozy this month. Okay, so put that away. So we're done with this one. Now all that's left is the change, and there's not too much change in here. I went to the cheesesteak stand a few times, and when I get change there, when I get cash change there, it's only 2 cents because of what I order. So just about probably 50 cents or so for 2 weeks going in. But that's okay because this is going to the Christmas fund also. So it doesn't necessarily matter whether it's coins or whether it's cash. It's all going to the same place. And cash is a heck of a lot more portable. So take out this bag of coins, we'll drop them in, and that's good for another week. Okay, so that's the cash dump, and now let's talk about the really exciting part of the week, which was the savings. So I'll bring the book back, and we'll get to talking about that. Okay, we're back in the book, and we're in the savings section. So let's talk about this. First section is my emergency fund, and I've not touched this. I had other sources of money available to deal with all of the events of the last couple of weeks. So that one is still good. The blip fund, which is break lock if prompted, meaning if you have an unexpected expense, this is where the money can come from so that you don't have to put everything on a credit card or incur any debt. That I didn't have to touch either. Even though I overspent, I redeemed credit card rewards that I had available to wipe off some of those transactions. So this fund is still intact. Then we have the savings for my next big goal, which is the big move. And the first challenge that I'm doing for this is a monetization tracker for my YouTube channel. And so I'm going to call this here the big move. My opening balance is 0. But this week, so on 5/22 of 25, I saved $2,000. And that brings my new balance to $2,000. So the way that I'm tracking this is my subscriber count. It's not fully filled in yet. In fact, I'm about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 behind. So I will get that colored in. But for every subscriber, I've decided I'm going to save $5 up to the first 1,000 subscribers. So I'm just about halfway there. And I am behind in putting the money into the account. But when I decided I was going to do this, I knew it was going to take a while to catch up. So I'll get there, hopefully in June. But for now, I've got at least some of this already done. In fact, I'm good through here with that $2,000, right? Because each of these is $50. So that's 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 1,000, 1,500, 2,000. So I'm good through here, but the tracker really should be filled out through about here. So I'm glad that I got this filled out. I'm glad that I got the account started. I still need to do one for the Christmas fund, and I'll try to have that one done next week. But with everything going on and the service and everything, there just wasn't enough time to do everything. But this is important to me. You all are important to me, so I wanted to make sure that I didn't delay this one more week. Okay, so that's all I'm going to say about the long-term savings, but let's also make sure that we go over to the Roth IRA. This was last year's that I fully funded. And where's this year's? Did I go past it? Yes, I did. Okay. So the Roth IRA, or the Sloth IRA, with this tracker, which is available in my Etsy shop, and all of my worksheets are also available in my Etsy shop. I am tracking how much I'm contributing up to the max, which for me is $7,000 because I've not yet reached my 50th birthday. Folks 50 and over can save an additional $1,000 as a catch-up contribution for a total of $8,000 into their IRA this year. And if you do like the tracker and you want this, you'll get both a $7,000 version and an $8,000 version, so that no matter where you are on life's path, you have the right tracker for you. Okay, so I need to record that on 5/21, I contributed $305, and that brings my total contributions. I'm not tracking the gains, the losses, the dividends, anything like that, to, let's see, this will make this 51, and this will make this 3,251. Right, okay. So that's good. So I'm nearly halfway there, and I am going to now mark out 3 more sloths, because each of these sloths represents $100. So we get the little dollar stamper here. There's 1, 2, and 3. So starting another row, which feels fantastic. And I don't know exactly when I'll have this done because I haven't charted it out, but contributing at least $300 a week, that should be, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, about 13 weeks. So about 3 months. And I will have my Roth IRA fully funded for the year. So that's exciting, something I'm looking forward to. I will try very hard, because this is a holiday weekend, I should have the time to do it, to fill out the tracker for the Christmas fund so that I'm keeping that up to date, because eventually I'm going to need to start spending some of the money in there. I like to take advantage of sales when I can, so Like, for example, for Amazon Prime Day this year, I'll probably spend some of that money and start getting those Christmas gifts together so that when the holidays are here, they're already bought and I can just send them to loved ones. Okay, so that's it for this week. This coming weekend, I will have my June budget. I wasn't able to do it last weekend when I normally would have done it, just because of, again, life events. So I'll be doing that. Next week, on the 28th, is the big launch for May. So that is Dicetropolis 2, another dice game, and a scratch off savings challenge. The video for that will be going up on the 27th at 9 p.m. Pacific time, so midnight on the 28th Eastern time, and then all those listings will be live. I will be back here on Monday for game night, Wednesday for the Savings Challenge books, and then on Friday, hopefully Friday of next week, for another budget update where I'll be talking about all my expenses, all of my bills, and all of the excuse me, all of the savings that I will do for next week. So thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate all the time that you spend with me. And if you like the video, please leave it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're new. Leave me a comment down below. And until I see you in the next one, take care.